So I thought I'd start my first flashlight review with my current favorite flashlight, the Streamlight Survivor X. Now, it's been through multiple iterations, starting from the oldest Survivor using incandescent light bulbs, about 100 lumens or so. And then it went on, we got some LED ones, and the third generation was an LED. First time they used an LED in this series. And it has a huge ass reflector, really focused beam. That's kind of its characteristics there. But people complain about that reflector. So the fourth generation, it looked like this one. Now, it is a little brighter as well. They've bumped up the output to 175 lumens, and it was really well liked. Even got made into a game. Now this, the Survivor X, is the fifth generation. Even brighter. You get 250 lumens of output, and it still looks the same, low profile and really slick. But there's actually quite a few differences compared to its previous generation, and we're gonna get into that. Anyways, what we got here is the light itself and what came with the bag. Some user manual. They even gave us a little sticker inside here. Check this out. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna toss this aside. I'm gonna talk about the light itself. So, this light is intrinsically safe. Class 1, Div 1. You can use this anywhere. It's not gonna blow up in your face. I love that. It has a 250 lumen output on high, 60 lumen output on low. The furthest beam it can throw, they say, is around like 500 meters, which is about 400 or 500 yards. That's actually quite far. Yeah, that's very focused beam right there. All right, takes 3 AA batteries or a single 18650 if you're using their included battery carrier. You can buy the Streamlight batteries as well. I think there's even like an option where they include one of those Streamlight batteries. Basically an 18650 branded as some SLB something 26, I forgot. But yeah, 18650s. Better use the protected ones, otherwise it ain't gonna fit. Again, intrinsically safe. Certifications require you to use certain types of batteries as well. They'll talk about that in the manual. Make sure you put in the right batteries if you are actually gonna bring this somewhere that might blow up. Alright, so that's the standard power option. You also have their proprietary battery pack, Class 1 Div 1. You can buy that, but it's going to be a lot more expensive. Now, let's talk about the modes. 3 modes as compared to the previous light with 4 modes. There's no moonlight mode on this one. The last version had a moonlight mode that would last you a good 20 days. This one doesn't have that, but it's still got its high and low. And then it also has its flashing mode. So it tells you how to use it up top here. Click to turn it on, right? Click to turn it off. At any mode, hold 1 second to go to low, and then when it's at low, hold another second to go to flash. Or you just straight up hold it from on, low, flash, and then, at any mode you click once, it'll turn off. It doesn't have mode memory, always turn on to its brightest setting. I love that. It's even got a battery indicator on top of the switch too. Wow. Now, as I mentioned, it doesn't have that moonlight mode as compared to the previous version. However, what it does better is waterproofing. This thing is IP rated. It is IP rated IP67, so pretty waterproof. Don't dive with it, but if you splash it or drop it in a pond, it should be all right. Another difference compared to the previous version is that this battery, it only takes 3 AA's or an 18650, of course, but only 3 AA's. The previous one you would need to put in 4. Not only that, it has basically the same amount of run time. You get around 5 hours on high and around 14-15 hours on low, about 8 hours on flash. So it got more efficient. Shout out to Streamlight. That's some awesome stuff. Okay, now we've gone through pretty much all about this light. Let's get to that beam shot. Alright, it's nighttime Taipei City. I'm gonna do some beam shots. Not the darkest place, but it's dark enough. Right now it's on high mode. This tree is about 5 meters away from me. Pretty bright. Adjust the way I hold the light a little bit. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. Take a look at that building right there. That building is about 10 to 20 meters away from me. It's about 10 meters, 10, 15 maybe. All right. That building over there, we're looking at around 70 meters. All right, let's move over there. All right, it's also about the same distance over there in that building, as you can see. And then we're gonna go rightwards a little bit over there, about close to 100 meters. And that building behind it is well over 100 meters. So this light does travel pretty far, even with, it being in such a light polluted area here. Taipei City. Let's check out the low beam. All right, this is the low beam. See, it still throws the light pretty good. Look at that. It can hit all those buildings despite only at low. Right. Overall, a pretty decent light. It's close to 100 meters to still hit that as well. Even hits that building behind it a little bit. You can't really see it, but you can kind of make it out. It's pretty decent.
All right. So the final part where I talk about how I would recommend this light. Now, I always separate this into 2 levels. Level 1, it being a light that I would recommend for daily use, but not a light that will depend my life on. Meaning, if this is a situation where I need this light to turn on or else I'll die, I would not bring this light with me. But if it's just, I'm trying to find my keys in the dark, it's a good light. There's also level 2. Level 2 is where I would bring this light with me. Life and death situation. If I have to have it on, otherwise I die, I bring it with me. I trust it that much. So I would recommend this. I'll put it on level 2, guys. This is really good, really well built, very durable. And Streamlight is a very credible company. They've been known for making some really good lights. And yeah, a lot of firefighters actually do use the Survivor series. And I believe this newer model is just as good as its previous ones. Now, before you buy, there's a couple things you should know. I think this is probably the only flaw it has, if you could even call it a flaw, is that the beam is too throwy. The beam could go too far, right? It's very narrow, and as you can see, if you're trying to work with that, good luck. And it barely has any spill, right? To prevent glare, it barely has any spill, but this is actually a disadvantage when you're trying to do work on, say, your vehicle or something. You really can't see a large area. You can only see where that spot is. And usually, because this is such a bright spotlight, it's going to be too bright for you to even see clearly where the light is shining at. There is a solution, as a workaround. You can take that TIR optics out. You can do that. But again, I don't advise taking this light apart, especially the optics part. You mess up the focus and everything, and I just don't recommend it. You might lose the optics and whatnot. So that would be the only, I wouldn't even call it a flaw, but maybe a point to consider for buying this light. Now, the light goes around $80 to some of the versions like $200 something, depending on whether you buy the proprietary battery pack or not. For $80, I'd say it's an okay deal. I actually wouldn't spend that much on it. I'll say I'll spend like around $60 on it, especially if it doesn't come with like a lithium battery or anything like that. So just my take on this stuff. Wait for a discount on Amazon. If you could pay for $60 for this, it's a good deal. If you pay $80 for this, $90 for this, I'd say it's a mediocre deal, but still worth it. Again, this is level 2 recommendations. This is a really good light. Well, there you have it. It's my first flashlight review. Hey, let me know if I did good or not. And yeah, I got more to come.